Hi there. It's been over 6 months since we got back from Spain on our last tour. With the outbreak of COVID cutting things short, we've been at home now for nearly 7 months. Had one lockdown, and another lockdown is starting in Wales in 3 days time, and we've decided that we're going to make a break for it and try and head down for the sunshine in Greece. Quite exciting because we made a few alterations to the van since last time. The biggest one is we've got an extra toilet cassette. We've also got an extra solar panel for a bit more power, but the other big problem is we seem to have a lot more luggage. We've packed up all the stuffs in the house and we've got tons of stuff now. There's a few things that we've tried to kick out, like the car ramps. Don't think we wouldn't be needing lube glue and stuff anymore, just use little washing up capsules and stuff. But in addition to all what we had before, we've got things like turbo trainers, extra wetsuits and stuff like that, which we're going to hope to try and pack in. There's even a whole box of stuff for you, isn't there, Rube? So let's see how it goes. I think there could be some difficult decisions to be made in the next 2 hours. At the moment we've got plenty of empty cupboards, empty fridge and everything. There's my bunk up there. We're planning on using the far side of that double bunk to store things like lightweight wetsuits and odds and ends like that. We've got about 6 plastic Euro storage boxes that can go into this cupboard. We're going to try and use the storage compartment underneath this seat here, which has got the batteries here as well. We can try and put that to good use for various odds and ends that we don't plan on using very frequently. After getting 2 speeding tickets on various van trips, I've decided to take the Valentine 1 radar detector with me this time, although if we get caught with it we could get in some serious trouble. A fair amount of food for us. That's a lot to fit in a small kitchen. Multivitamins for humans and dogs. Lots of snacks for running. We're pretty organised on the clothing front. We've got these little carrier bag things. That's got all my biking stuff in. This has got my running stuff in, and this other one has got all my casual clothes and things. And then I've got this box here, that's all the swimming training gear. So eventually we decided to set off, all packed, and now fast forward. Here we are back in Wales then, 5 weeks later after the tour. You can see all the contents of the van have been cleared out, and most of them are now in the garage here or in the kitchen. And let's see what we thought of our packing. First of all, what did we forget? We forgot a continental electricity plug adapter. The other thing we forgot was a pizza tray for the oven, so that made cooking the pizzas a bit difficult. But apart from that, there are a lot of things that we could have done with. Tools were a thing. We could have done with a wood saw, just for sawing up a bit of wood and firewood and things. We could have done with a pair of pliers as well. We needed an electrical fuse, and we didn't have a full set of fuses, so I had to go and buy a 10 amp fuse in the end. The thing was, when we set off, we thought, well, if we forget things, we can easily buy them in shops over there. But we weren't accounting for another lockdown due to COVID, when a lot of the non-essential shops were closed for most of the time. So there were a few things that we eventually bought when we were over there. Big relief once we found a fly swat, because the flies were driving us mad at the beginning of the trip when it was really still quite warm and sunny. We were having to use our electric whale pump to pump some of the water into the van water supply when we didn't have a hose pipe connection. So a watering can or a funnel would have been really useful to have filled up the water supply when the taps that we were using didn't actually have hose pipe connections on them. But we didn't take a spare water pump with us, and they're only small things, but if one of those breaks whilst you're away, really can add to a lot of inconvenience and be very hard to source while you're traveling. So next time I would buy a spare water pump. Things that we could have really done with the van, I think the main thing was that the shower is not instantaneous. You have to turn it on, wait for about 10 or 20 minutes for the water to heat up, and then have a shower. That on top of the fact that the shower cubicle very often doubled up as a bit of a cupboard, meant that what I really would like is to have an instantaneous gas shower that was mounted outside the van to use. That would be really good to get out of the water, just jump under that for a minute or two. Having a garage to put the bikes in would have been nice. It was just inconvenience putting a cover over the bikes a lot of the time, but it could be a security issue, I suppose. The other thing, which is something that we hadn't accounted for due to lockdown, was the fact that we were staying in the same place for extended periods of time and not driving anywhere. Now, if we got maybe anything more than 2 or 3 days where the sun wasn't shining, the electricity was becoming a bit of an issue, as with a lot of other people that we met. And I think that when you haven't got any sunshine and you're not driving around, a wind turbine would really come into its own, because we noticed every time there was no sunshine, there was always plenty of wind, and even a low power wind turbine working 24 hours a day would have given us enough electricity to have kept us going, I think. The Safari Chef outdoor gas barbecue was something that didn't get used at all, basically because we made campfires and used those instead. The table and chairs, well, they weren't really that useful. Alison used her outside deck chair a lot. I just used a little small stool. Well, we took a fair amount of clothes with us for going out to restaurants and bars and things. Obviously with lockdown, none of those got used. I didn't use a single pair of long trousers. Then there's a couple of other things, just like little cooking implements like ladles and whisks and things in the kitchen that we didn't use. But the best things that we took, well, we found a lovely long bit of climbing rope, which was about 5mm diameter, which made an amazingly good washing line. And if you've got plenty of pegs, that makes your life a lot simpler. All the Euro boxes that we took really helped us keep organised, with everything very compartmentalised in those Euro boxes. The e-bags that we bought, again, keeping our clothes all separate and organised, were really good, because you can easily unzip them, you can see what's inside them because they've got a mesh cover to them. I'd really recommend those to people. And again, the plastic baskets, which were mainly used in the kitchen and storage compartments, just stopped everything sliding around the van, and you always knew what was going to be in each basket. The small plastic folding step that we took was really useful. It doubled up not only as a step to be able to load the bikes on the back of the van and to reach the top of the windscreen to clean it and things like that. It's also a good little seat, and it also served as a small table. Another really useful thing was this rechargeable electric light. So you just recharge it in your windscreen every day, and then at night it's all powered up, and it saves your batteries from getting drained down a little bit. Really useful thing to have as secondary lighting. We took our weighing scales with us, but actually we used them a couple of times a week, and that really helped us to keep track of how our diet was going and how the fitness was progressing. So we're glad we took the weighing scales. They just fitted in the side of the door there, so they were out the way actually. The fold-away Quetcher canvas bucket that we had was really useful, not only for getting water, but it was good for just putting wet things in the shower room and stuff like that. So that was another compact thing that really got used quite frequently. Again, we took a water canister with us, and that was a sort of reserve tank of water. That was really useful to have. The spare toilet cassette that we fitted underneath the van was really good. We actually ended up using it properly once, but it was just really nice to have that reserve capacity there so that you didn't have to worry. Also, taking the inverter with us meant that we could plug the little inverter into the van, but what I'd say is that it was a square wave converter, which are a lot cheaper, only about £17. Having a sine wave converter would have been much more useful, because that would then have charged my drone up, which would have saved a lot of hassle.
the other things that we were really grateful for having was the coffee making equipment. We had the percolator one, we had a filter coffee cafetiere or filter coffee flask thing, and also we had a milk frother as well. So having good coffee was really good way of lifting our spirits up, and again, that was in daily use, I can tell you. So all in all, our packing was fairly successful, I would say. Also learned quite a few things. We've got 2 packing lists, and I'll try and put links to those lists in this YouTube description below, if that's of use to anybody. And thanks very much for watching all this video. If it's useful to you and you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and if you'd like to see videos in the future, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. So thanks very much for watching. Bye for now, and we hope we have some more adventures to report on very soon. Bye bye.